Hey everyone, Cole Caparoon here. I need your help with something, but I need to give you just the tiniest bit of backstory for you to understand why I need your help with this. I promise this isn't clickbait. I promise I'm not asking for any of your money. I'm only looking for suggestions. Now, this channel has always been about kind of documenting my path, explaining to you some of my path, some of the mistakes I made, some of the shortcomings that I've had, trying to help you avoid some mistakes that I have made, hoping to help shorten your trajectory on your music career path. And mixed in with that was always about gear reviews and showing off different cool pieces of gear that I have found extremely useful for me in my productions at the level that I'm working at. Now, for those of you that don't know, for most years, I'm working on between 150 and 200 songs a year, and my goal is never to get by. My goal for my music, for my clients, for my career has always been to strive for the absolute tippy top of what I can pull off. I'm not looking to exist at 95%. I'm looking to exist at 101%, and that usually follows through with my gear choices. So what this means is I don't have a lot of budget gear. I don't use a lot of budget gear or even mid-range gear. Most everything that I have and most everything that I use is very, very high end, which means it's very, very expensive. There's a couple things that I'm a little bit nervous about moving forward. One, I feel like, now that Studio A is completely done and it's incredible and I feel so fortunate to have it, but it's not the most relatable studio in the world. It's not the most relatable collection of gear in the world. And so what I want to do is I want to start here in this room. There's a couple things going to happen in this video. We're going to talk about the things that I need your help with. We're going to do an update on Studio B and what's happening in Studio B. And then at the end, I'll give you a little bit of a health update because I've been flooded with messages and comments and text messages about it, and I appreciate that very much. The thing that I would like your help with, I want to start doing some content and some gear reviews on more budget and mid-range based gear. So what I would like for you to do is any piece of gear that you're interested in, any piece of gear that you've had your eye on, any piece of gear that you can't find another review on, drop it in the comments down below for me. Because what I'd like to do is start doing a bunch of videos. That's not what this channel is going to turn into, but I'd like to start doing some videos on more attainable pieces of gear and coming at it from the lens of someone who has very high-end stuff and works with very high-end gear all the time. What's kind of the budget options that seem to stand out, that can get you the closest to the high-end stuff, maybe without the price tag? But the reason why I need your help is because my focus and what I pay attention to has kind of never been on the budget options. It's usually only been on the high-end stuff because I'm looking to work at 101%. And so I'm actually not super familiar with a bunch of stuff out there in the budget to mid-range levels, and so I need your help with the suggestions. What are the things that you guys are interested in? What are the things that you guys want to see? Or even better, what are the pieces of gear that are budget to mid-range that you think are absolutely incredible and you want people to know about? So if you could drop those in the comments down below, I think that will be awesome. The next thing that I would love for you to do is if you comment a piece of gear, I would love for you to send this video to the manufacturer of that gear. DM them on Instagram, DM them on Facebook, send it in their contact of their email, but send this video to them so that way hopefully we can help this ball get rolling. And what I'd like to do is spend some time over the next months and years working with this gear and hopefully doing some giveaways with it. I'd really love, because I don't need the gear. And so what I'd like to do is provide a perspective of all of this gear, pros and cons, pluses and negatives, from the perspective of someone who does this full-time, full career, works with very high-end gear all the time, but what's like the best pieces? And then I'd like to give those pieces away. That's kind of what I want here. So I need your help in suggestions and in getting these companies involved because there's just too many of them for me to reach out to myself, and that's what I'd really like to do. Now, before we get on to my plans for this room and some health update stuff, I'm really looking forward to working with Sweetwater on probably a big portion of this. And as you know, I've been working with Sweetwater for a very, very long time. And I just want to thank Sweetwater for sponsoring this video along with a whole bunch of other videos. I've been buying my stuff from Sweetwater for a very, very long time, in addition to working hand in hand with them on this sort of stuff and doing some giveaways. So anytime you guys need any piece of musical gear whatsoever, you can click in any one of the links in the description below on any video of mine, and once you're on the site, you can purchase anything that you need. And if you do that, it goes a long ways to help support this channel and honestly support what I'm going to be trying to do here is working on a bunch of mid-range gear videos and hopefully hosting a ton of giveaways. So that will go a long ways to help support this whole thing that I'm trying to do. So help me help you. It costs you nothing extra, and it just goes a long ways to support this channel and support my goals here for doing this sort of thing. So thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring this video, and thanks to you guys for using those links anytime you need to purchase anything. Studio B, what am I even doing here now that Studio A is done? It's awesome to say. It's awesome to say. Studio A is done. There's nothing else that I want to do, nothing else I want to change, and that is a crazy feeling. So where does that leave me for Studio B here? This room was always meant to be a B room, an editing suite, so to speak, and I worked out of here solely for about a year while Studio A was under construction. So now that that room's done, what am I doing here? Well, the thing I'm actually really excited about is using this room to test some of these more entry to mid-range level pieces of gear, because this room is so much more representative of what probably most of you are working in. This is a much more relatable situation where it's well treated, but it's not flawlessly treated. It's kind of a funky shape. It's got compromises like just about all of our home studios do. And so I'm really looking forward to using this room as the test bed. The first up, I want to do different monitors. I've got some iLouds up here, and they work great for editing video and whatnot. But the first thing is I want to test a whole bunch of monitors that are appropriate for a small home studio like this room, and want to give you my thoughts on them over the years. I don't know if we'll do individual reviews on them or if I'll just test a whole bunch of them out and then do like my thoughts on them and which ones that I recommend and what the pros and cons of each of them are. But monitors is very high on my list here, in addition to, you know, interfaces and just really anything that is like budget to mid-range stuff for a home studio. So that's what this room is going to be used for. The other thing that I'm kind of not sure about, and this gets into a little bit of a life update thing, in the back of my mind, ever since we built this house over 5 years ago, almost 5.5 years ago, it's been in the back of my head that this is where an assistant was going to be. That I would one day hire an assistant and they would work in this room while I was working in Studio A. And I'm just on the fence about that. And I just kind of want to give you guys my thought process on this. So hopefully, as some of you climb the ranks with your music career, hopefully maybe this will help you decide which direction to go. As soon as I hire an assistant, this whole thing that I do here will turn into a machine that I can't turn off, a machine that I can't take breaks from. And there's some real pros and cons to that. The first pro is obviously that I can get a lot more work done. I can work on a lot more music and I can make a lot more content. And an assistant would be an enormous help when it comes to doing that stuff. The big con is then I'm responsible for someone else's salary, and I can't just shut the studio down for a week or something because I'd like a break or I want to go on a trip, because I have to maintain payment for that person's salary. And so it just becomes significantly more complicated, in addition to finding the right person that is great at editing in Pro Tools, great at tuning vocals, great at video editing and photography. They kind of have to be interested in content creation and music equally, and that's a hard person to find. So I'm unsure of what I'm going to do there, but I do know that this room will live and serve as a test bed for testing all of this gear like I've already talked about. Next up, a health update. For those of you that didn't see, I posted a video a few weeks ago about how over the past few years I've been struggling with some serious blood pressure issues, and I almost had several strokes. The response to that video was so overwhelming. The quantity and thoughtfulness of the comments, and the amount of people that sent me DMs and text, and still every day for several weeks now, it really has blown me away. I cannot thank you guys for enough for the support and for all of the well wishes and the kind words and all of the suggestions. You guys are awesome. This community that we have here is just unbelievable. And sometimes I post a video like that and it really hits me how awesome this community is. And there aren't words to express how much I appreciate it and how much it helped motivate me to stay on the path. You guys are awesome. Things are in a good place right now, health-wise. I'm still eating super clean. I'm still going to the gym at least every other day, drinking tons of water, almost no caffeine, no soda, no alcohol, and things are good. Blood pressure's totally leveled out. I'm in a good place. I have not yet been able to drop my dose of medication. I hope that if I just keep this lifestyle up for the coming, weeks and months and maybe years, it definitely is a big lifestyle shift. This is not just a diet that I'm going to do until I hit a particular goal. This is a lifestyle change for me. It has been difficult. I like my sugar. I like my sweets. I like cereal. I love caffeine. What caffeine does to me mentally is like, well, it's a drug. It's addictive, and I am a caffeine addict. I have been playing around with adding back in the tiniest bit of espresso, because there was a thing that would happen to me where I would come here in the studio, and making an espresso is like a whole thing. You don't look at your phone. You're not thinking about emails. You're not thinking about anything. You're just focused on the task, on the detail-oriented task of making the best espresso possible. And it was a mental shift for me every morning. I would come in here and I would make my espresso and I would go into the studio, whichever room it was, and I would sit down. Okay. And I'd shoot that espresso and let's get to work. And it was a mindset shift. It was a ritual that helped me prepare for the day, and it helped put me in the right headspace to be productive. And so I've been playing around a little bit with going through all of those same steps, except taking just a couple tiniest sips out of that espresso instead of shooting the whole thing. And I'm just playing around with trying to find how to replace that ritual, or how to handle that so I have the same mindset and can have the same amount of productivity. But things are in a good place. And again, I cannot thank you all enough for all the kind wishes and all the comments and the messages. You guys are incredible. I think that'll about do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.